As humans, we have a lot of biases, a lot of cognitive biases that impact our decision making. Today, we are going to see one such bias, and it's called the anchor effect. Anchor effect is nothing but when an individual gives extraordinary importance for an initial piece of information while taking any decision. And that tends to impact his decision making. And let me give you an example. I routinely every 6 months give my car for servicing. Every time I drive into the service center to give my vehicle for service, the service mechanic there will have a long pad. He will check all the parts, and as he checks, he will say this may need to be changed, this may need to be changed, and so on and so forth. So by the time I am ready to give the key to him, he'll give me an initial assessment that sounds like somewhere around, so you will have to keep 20,000 rupees prepared for this. And I'll mentally be a little bit down as I walk out of the service center, hoping to collect my vehicle later in the evening, but having to shell out 20,000 rupees. And lo and behold, when I go back at 6 p.m. in the evening, and when I get my vehicle, I'll get it along with a bill that only costs 15,000 rupees. And what a happy man I'll be. In fact, I'll give my service mechanic a 5-star rating for his work done. All because the gentleman had anchored me to a 20,000 number, and when the actual bill came to 15,000, I was overjoyed. That's a simple anchoring experience that we all undergo. And in everyday life, we see anchoring in every aspect, friends. When we hear the word 40 degrees in temperature, we almost feel sweat breaking out because we are imagining that we have anchored to a higher temperature. Similarly, when we buy vegetables or fruits, the fruit vendor tells you a price because he knows that you're going to bargain and he'll give you a couple of rupees lesser to make you feel happy. That's again a kind of an anchoring effect. Last but not the least, when you're trying to buy an apartment, the builder will put up a notice that for the first 50 or 100 buyers, there's a special price, or for a limited period, he is willing to give it to you for a special price. That's about 500 rupees or 250 rupees lesser than the actual price. This again is an anchoring effect. He has anchored you on a certain price and is willing to give you 250 rupees lesser. These are all examples where we make decisions based on the anchor. Let's now understand how anchoring impacts investment decisions. Friends, there is a stock that you bought in the recent bull run that has hit its lifetime high. And for some reason, intrinsic to the company, that stock has dropped to 50% of its value recently. As an investor in that stock, you will never sell it now. You will wait for it to go back to its 100% value, its lifetime high, which it hit during the peak of the bull run. This is a classic example of how anchoring. We have been anchored to a certain stock price, which we believe we will get if we wait along. Unfortunately, it cannot be farther from the truth, my friends, because the share price has dropped because something fundamentally has gone wrong with the company. It could be a variety of internal stuff, it could be some problem that they have, so on and so forth. For the stock to climb back up, it could take many years, if not, may not even happen at all. So it's extremely important to understand that you are being anchored to a certain price mentally. Now, what are the ways in which one can overcome this anchoring effect, especially if you want to make smart investment decisions? The way to overcome anchoring effect is first to understand that there is something called an anchoring bias, and all of us are impacted by it. Being aware is the first part of the solution. Second is, if ever you have an anchor, please try and do deep research to understand the anchor is the right anchor. It's extremely important to understand whether the number or the figure or whatever that you're considering as an anchor is deeply researched and it's the right number. Third, be prepared and be open-minded to revisit that anchor ever so often to see whether there is a change in that. And last but not the least, always understand that nothing is absolute. Even an anchor needs change. So keep looking for change and that change will be visible to you. So Anchoring is a very important bias that we encounter in our everyday lives. And more so if you're an investor, it's extremely important not to be anchored to any data. Because as you are aware, investment is always in a dynamic situation. We need to be constantly changing our mindsets. Anchoring will not help us. So you need to be open-minded, and hope this message was useful for you.